Ed Dowd is a Wall Street powerhouse with over 2 decades of experience spanning credit and equity markets, most notably as a portfolio manager at BlackRock. Today, he is the founding partner of Finance Technologies and has become a fearless truth teller, authoring the eye-opening bestseller Cause Unknown: The Epidemic of Sudden Deaths in 2021 and 2022. He exposes the hidden fractures in our society and economy that threaten us all. Ed, it's truly a pleasure having you back on the show. Welcome.
Thanks, Daniela. Good to be here.
Look, we have a lot of ground to cover. Let's just dive right in. America feels more fractured than ever. Red versus blue, urban versus rural, the haves and the have-nots. Polls now show that over 2/3 of us view the other political side as not just wrong, but immoral and dishonest, a level of effective polarization that's deepened since the 2010s. I bring this up because I just watched a very powerful video that my colleague sent me with Chase Hughes on Charlie Kirk's murder, which he calls the biggest scam in history. I'm just going to throw to this clip.
All of this, it's not just a result of some advertising and algorithms. This is deliberate, and I would stake my reputation on it. This is not just some accidental byproduct of politics. This, what we're seeing right here, is engineered step by step to keep you outraged and blind and keep you just kind of stabbing and punching at shadows. All the while, this real power, the people who profit from division, stay completely untouchable.
So in it, he's basically saying, this divide that they have orchestrated is purposeful. I know that this is something you have spoken about in the past too, about how there's a strategy behind pitting us against each other. Why, Ed?
Well, we have a disparity in wealth we haven't seen since the Roaring '20s and other periods in history, like the French Revolution. And historically, when you get these wealth disparities, they end one of two ways. The elites pay a existential price, like in the French Revolution, or there's a New Deal, like there was in the Great Depression. So that's how you saw them. And the Great Depression was really a reset. People don't really call it that, but we had 10 years of poverty, and then the government stepped in and there was a New Deal. So that's where we're headed. We're headed for a New Deal reset, whatever you want to call it. And here we are at the precipice of what I think is the beginnings of the manifestation of the capital markets figuring out what should have happened a couple of years ago, which is an economy, not just our economy, but Europe and China, where the economies are rolling, the real economies are rolling over. And they've been papering over the financial markets especially in the U.S., with illegal immigration and deficit spending. And the Charlie Kirk assassination, I find very curious the timing of it, because we're seeing the cracks beginning in the financial system around the globe. And this is just another way to divide us. COVID was another way, and DEI and the woke. And what we have now is a country which two sides basically have mutual incomprehension, meaning we have our beliefs, they have theirs, and we can't have discussions. Charlie Kirk tried to bridge that gap, and he was killed because of it. And the timing of it, for me, when I saw the timing of it, because we're tracking the end of this bubble, and it feels very close to the end, given what we're seeing in the real estate markets and the stock market bubble, the AI bubble. And it was really, I feel like we're on the edge of something big, and this was just another way to divide the country. And if you look at what's going on, there are two realities. There's the truth, and then there's the propaganda. And there's a class of people who to this day believe Charlie Kirk's murderer was a right-wing MAGA person, and they're not gonna budge from that. You see this divide of truth, and this is purposeful. These algorithms are designed, I believe, to keep people in their own realities.
I'm so happy, we're addressing this, because in all honesty, Ed, I've been really having a hard time with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and trying to figure out, like you say, it feels like we're on the breaking point of something huge. I don't know if it's in reference to what Ray Dalio talks about when he references cycles, but if you could just dig a little deeper there, because people are going to say, okay, but what are these assassinations? I know you hinted at it, but if you could just go deeper, what are these? How do these assassinations tie into a monetary reset or a monetary agenda they want to push forward?
Well, look, if you're going to reset the financial system, there'll be winners and losers, and they the system is designed to fail. It's a multi-generational Ponzi scheme, and here we are at the end of the cycle, and these people are responsible for it. They know the system, they designed it, and the central bankers and the politicians do not want to take the blame. So the best way to not take the blame is to do the classic divide and conquer. And there's a great meme that I've put out there many times for years that shows a king on a parapet looking down at the pitchfork and torch people trying to get into the castle, and his advisor leans over and says, you don't have to fight them. All you have to do is convince the pitchfork people that the torch people want their pitchforks.
Huh.
It's classic. This is classic.
Right.
And so that's why this Charlie Kirk assassination, really the timing of it. I mean, we're already very divided. COVID did a good job of that. Other methods of division, but this really solidified for me that something big is coming, and that our conviction and our economic cause is closer than we think. I'm sorry. I know they're two different. They're not related, but they are in my humble opinion.
We'll get right back to the interview, but this is an important moment to ask yourself, when the next crisis hits, will you be properly positioned or wish you prepared earlier? I've spent over 2 decades reporting on global economic shifts, and what's happening now is unprecedented. In moments like this, timely decisions are critical. That's why we've put together the Private Wealth Playbook. It's a free guide showing you how to use gold and silver strategically for protection, privacy, and long-term performance. Click below or visit DannyReport.com to download it now so you can move forward with clarity and confidence. Now back to the show. You really explained that well, and I mean, you're right. If we look back in history, we could see this all the way back to the Roman Empire of how they did this. And I want to just bring up the United Nations right now. It's the UN General Assembly is taking place across town right now as we speak. But this has reminded me of Gaddafi's infamous speech during the 2009 UN speech on internal U.S. conflicts. And during his rambling 90-minute address to the United Nations General Assembly, he referenced America's own history of internal strife as a parallel to ongoing conflicts like Iraq and Afghanistan. And he warned that the U.S. would collapse from within. Basically, he was warning about some sort of civil war in the U.S. I mean, it's kind of creepy timing, Ed.
No, it is. In the UN, Trump is there today addressing.
Yes.
I heard some of the comments. He called up climate change as a scam, which it is. It's a control system. It's a way to put the onus of environmental wrongs on individual carbon units. That's you and me, rather than where the blame lies in corporations, because there are real environmental harms. But to claim that we're the cause of this nefarious quote unquote global warming, which has been debunked many times, is just another way to divide and conquer. It's a tax and collection and control system scheme. Trump called it out today. The UN is very involved in Agenda 2030, which is basically a reset and corralling people into smart cities and control systems and digital currencies and climate taxes and just ways of control that we all know are just going to erode our freedoms greatly.
Ed, I guess just moving on here before we talk, other cracks in the system. I think it's a positive that we're having conversations surrounding the division, that people are maybe waking up to it. So my question is, if we recognize the playbook, if people are seeing it now, can we rewrite it? Are you optimistic?
Yeah, people see it. Things can change. We just have to be very careful. The Trump administration is doing the best job they can, but they still have infiltration and stay behind networks. The deep state is like blood-soaked ticks. They didn't get removed overnight. If you just look at what's going on with the FBI investigation of the Charlie Kirk assassination, Kash Patel is the head of the FBI, but clearly he's not in complete control of his organization, because the story coming out of the FBI makes no sense. most people with thinking brains have called BS on it. So we'll get to the bottom of the truth there. But there's still a lot of work to be done. And as long as people understand, you shouldn't be getting into the streets in a civil war. You should be focusing on real change, real institutions, and understand there's going to be a propaganda war to make you angry. And the more angry you get against people that are not oligarchs, the more we lose.
I hope we'll get to the truth, but I mean, we still don't know the story behind JFK. Ed, you
Yeah,
really,
yeah, I'm not concerned about getting to the truth. Just know it's a tool. I mean, and hopefully we get there, but I'm not going to go down rabbit holes and spend too much time there. I just know that this is used as a division point.
understood.
Charlie did say, and one of the themes that came out of the memorial was forgiveness. Forgive your enemy. That doesn't mean roll over and let them, beat you to death. But forgiveness takes away the anger of the heart and allows you to make more reasoned judgments and critical thinking. So, you have to suppress your anger. You not try to unite together. The good news is a lot of former Democrats were horrified with some of the reactions that they saw. So, something like this, I think our numbers are swelling, theirs are declining, but there's a problem in that when we have a lot of really sick, mentally injured people from the propaganda, the isolation, the indoctrination, and they're not well. And they're the ones we have to forgive, but also understand that they potentially could get violent, and there's a lot of them.
Let's shift gears now to something that's hitting while it's hard right now. I know you've been working extremely hard on the housing crisis. You've been ringing the alarm bell louder than most, and with good reason. Your latest reports are painting a very, very stark picture of what's happening in housing. You also shared a chart with me that's just terrifying, and we'll throw it up here we'll fire it in here. Um, Talk to me about what you're seeing on housing and how it's the ultimate bubble right now.
Also, housing, unfortunately, due to illegal immigration, some bad signals were sent to the market, and we have an overbuild in multifamily. This housing cycle is going to be
Yeah.
earmarked by an overbuild in multifamily housing structures, 5 units plus. We've seen construction in that area that we haven't seen since the 70s when the baby boomers went from college into renting initially before buying their home. So this multifamily unit problem was supported by the illegal immigration, which put a floor on rents and delayed this housing cycle rollover. So the housing cycle should have started rolling over a year or two ago. It was supported by illegal immigration that put a floor on rents, but now everything's rolling in unison. And we're going to see our charts indicate that total construction. Let me look here. Housing units under construction total peaked in 2023 and went sideways into the beginning of 24 and have been rolling since then. And they started rolling in 06, 05, 06 in the great financial crisis. And where we are is we're basically in December of 07 right now. If I had to earmark it, where it's starting to appear to the common person that there's a problem in housing, but it's not yet mainstream media news. If you go back, people weren't talking about a housing crisis in December of 07. That really didn't manifest until 8 months later. We're about 8 months away from something, or it could happen sooner, but we are in the beginning. We're in the beginnings of this becoming a public discussion. So it's a white swan event. It's been very easy to see, but people don't talk about it until it's staring them in the face. And right now we have a real estate market where we have, and the chart that I sent you is one
Yeah.
from the one chart, just one chart from many of our reports that show homes for sale versus homes sold. There's a
Right.
huge gap. They usually track each other. And what's going on is affordability of homes for the average person isn't there. We've been overbuilding into the face of this. And we have boomers trying to sell homes, and the millennials and the Gen Xers and the Gen Z can't buy them. It's due to real estate taxes, insurance costs, mortgage costs, and the prices are just too high. So the only way to close the gap between homes for sale and homes sold is price. And price is going to come down, and that'll cause a housing recession. Construction jobs are about to disappear in housing. That's that. And once housing really rolls, it'll affect the GDP because housing all in is 20% of the economy. And so there's no way to avoid a recession in the US. It's been delayed by illegal immigration. It's coming. And we also have, unfortunately, the unprecedented AI stock bubble. And that's going to roll over at some point too, because we literally have a market that's 37% of it is eight stocks. It's all AI. We're at the phase now where they seem to be doing vendor financing like they did during the dot-com telecom boom. And that ends badly because return on investment so far from AI isn't very good. The build out hasn't yielded returns yet. And we're going to have, like we do in every technological speculation, which railroads were, one in the 1800s. You have the infrastructure build out. It's a boom. You overbuild, then there's a bust. Then eventually the productivity and the real benefits to the economy come 5-10 years later. And what's funny is I saw a clip of Zuckerberg. Someone was asking him if this was a bubble, and he referenced the railroad build out and the dot-com build out. And he said, yes, historically, this is what happens. And the real benefits don't come for years later. And he said, maybe this time's different, but I don't know. So even he knows he's building into a bubble.
So let me ask you this. For people who are looking to sell a home, should they do it quick? And for those who want to buy, hold off?
Yeah, that's where we are. If you want to sell a home, don't be too greedy about the price. Just, lower it to where it clears. If you want to sell it quick. Anecdotally, I live on Maui, and my friend is a real estate photographer. His business is booming. And I asked him, well, why is it booming? There's no sales. He goes, well, because, people list their home. It doesn't move because they keep the price too high. Then they fire the real estate broker, hire another one, and I either get to reshoot the property or relicense it. So he's having this turnover in volume as people fire real estate agents, hoping, for a different result from someone else. So these homes on Maui are getting relisted with different agents, but they're not clearing because the people have refused to lower the price.
Ed, I need to also bring up, I don't know if you caught my interview with Mitch Wexler. He's a very established real estate developer in Texas who's basically trying to lift the veil on what he calls the biggest scam in America, which is paying property tax, which he says is unconstitutional. He's brought this to the DOJ. He is fighting this hard. And he basically says the whole school bond fiasco has the possibility to bring down the entire financial system. Is this another story you've been following? Is it unconstitutional to be paying property tax?
Well, I haven't looked into it. Let's assume he's correct. If such a ruling came down, it would blow up muni bonds. It would blow up state budgets. And that would cause a financial crisis. So it's kind of one of those, yeah, maybe unconstitutional, but if you stop it, immediately we have a financial crisis.
And I know we covered a lot of ground here, but the canary in the coal mine, if I had to ask you, is it housing right now? I would think you're saying that's where all the arrows are pointing to housing.
It's housing, and also we have unprecedented speculation in the stock bubble. So we're going to have a wealth effect problem when that bursts, and then the housing problem will affect the real economy. Even it's already been kind of a slow grind, bad economy for the average person, but this will accelerate the real numbers down. Unemployment will rise. A lot of jobs center around housing. So the housing is the canary in the coal mine. And then there's going to be the knock-on effects from the credit contraction and the bad loans. So we don't know who's holding the old maid in the banking system.
Right.
It could be shadow banks, it could be private equity funds. We don't know, but when this credit goes bad, it's going to expose the players who have been not doing the right thing. And we did have a canary in the coal mine a couple weeks ago. Tricolor Auto went bankrupt. This was a firm this is not housing related, but it's related to the immigration problem. They were lending money to immigrants without licenses to buy cars, and due to the Trump immigration policies, they went bankrupt because the flow of credit in a credit fraud like Tricolor appears to be, you need constant growth. Well, their growth was shut off by Trump, and that's exposed the system to a bunch of bad loans. Banks are on the hook for lending to Tricolor Auto. So this is going to be a problem as housing prices roll over. There's going to be knock-on daisy chain effects throughout the financial system. Now, because it goes systemic, we're not calling that, but if it does, we'll let you know. But we're hoping it doesn't. But if it does, it'll be a problem.
And you have you did a whole report on housing that I invite everyone to check out, Ed. Why the rally in gold now?
Well, gold is rallying primarily for a couple of reasons. Financial instability seems to be a key theme amongst many players. They're afraid of buying sovereign bonds, so it's a flight to safety. It's also being accumulated by commercial banks and central banks. Basel III recently made gold money again, meaning you can it's tier one capital, and you can create loans against it, whereas before you couldn't. So there's a natural bid for gold that's going to continue for a while. There may be a pullback in gold if we get a financial crisis and a big margin call, but it'll only be temporary, and I think it'll go back up.
Last point I need to get in here. I have to ask you, since I know how closely you worked with RFK, Tylenol. We saw the reports, Trump coming out saying there's links with Tylenol and autism, and pregnant women shouldn't take Tylenol. The question I want to ask, because I've seen this on social, is people are saying Tylenol is going to sue the government and bankrupt America. I mean, is that plausible? Your thoughts on this whole story?
Well, first of all, that's absurd. Not going to happen. Secondly, it really wasn't about Tylenol. If you listen to what Trump said, there's more reports coming. This is just the beginning of trying to figure out what's going on with the autism epidemic. They'll address vaccines, and Trump referenced vaccines in his commentary. He gave cover for RFK and others because he feels like he can get away with saying anything, and he's basically indicating what's coming. So a lot of people in the MAHA movement were very pleased with what they heard, and even though the focus seems to be on Tylenol, this is just the beginning of the story. It's just one factor in a host of many.
Wow. We'll keep following it. Ed Dowd, I thank you for your thoughts and helping us to try and make sense of this world right now. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You can find our research at financetechnologies.com with a PH. And also I have a private website, eddowd.com.
Thank you, Ed. Keep well.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. More content, incredible content coming your way here on the Daniela Cambone Show.